Hey there, thanks for clicking on this video. You can call me Kay, and this is Opinions Not Facts. This is a little bit of a cathartic video thing that I'm doing for myself because I have a lot of opinions and I want to feel like I'm expressing them into the world, but I want to remain anonymous and I really don't think anyone's actually listening. So this is a great way for me to be able to creatively express myself and just sort of process what I'm thinking. Now, the obvious factor in this is that because these are opinions and not facts, they're all very subjective and it's based off of the information that I have. I want to acknowledge up front that I do not have all the facts, nor am I trying to convince anyone of any ideas. So because of that, you're not going to find a whole lot of evidence or a whole lot of actual content in here. Just some random weirdo who you never met before ranting about her opinions on things you don't care about. Now today I do want to talk about something that has died and gone already, but it's been on my mind, and it's some of the performative weirdness of people like Jake Doolittle. Now, Jake Doolittle is known for this really weird thing where he got upset about a charity that he runs not getting the attention he wanted, and he went online on a live stream and started threatening to blackmail people. Well, not even threatening to blackmail, he started blackmailing people, saying he was going to release names of people who did not donate to his charity. There were two things off the bat with this video that immediately got on my nerves. Number one, he was so touchy about people not messaging him back. That to me reeks of insecurity, and it's a little bit manipulative. To be mad that people don't get back to you when you're an adult is kind of a strange thing unless you're in a business setting where you really need that info. If my friend is busy and doesn't reply, I just text them again, or I send them a meme, or I kind of get over it. I'm not sitting there freaking out over the fact that they're not getting back to me. Especially not if I ask them to do something or I ask them about something that I know they might not have a positive reaction about. I honestly think it's weird to go to someone and try and sell your charity to them and then get really insecure when people don't message you back. I can think of countless times when I pitched an idea to my friends that they absolutely hated and they just did not respond because they didn't know how to tell me they hated that idea, and our friendship still went on. It was fine. I was not that worried about their opinions and their actions that this was the end of the world, and so I think it's a little strange that Jake Doolittle feels this way himself. I also find it a little irritating because when I went to his charity page and I looked at what he had on this page for his charity, I was kind of blown away by how simplistic and honestly shady the whole thing came off. There was very little info on there. They say absolutely nothing about the process for the charity. There's no testimonials. You don't even know for a fact that anyone has even received support from this charity except for what he tells you and the claims they make. I think that's a serious issue. If I saw his page, I would not donate to his charity, not even if he threatened to release my name. I honestly find it a little baffling that he had so many people not wanting to donate to his charity when he specifically reached out, and he didn't stop and take a look at his own website, his own mission, the whole process, and question what might be turning people off. He just immediately assumed that it had to do with something with him, and that just screams insecurity to me. I don't think this is an issue of someone being upset about charities as much as I think it's an issue of feeling personally offended and hurt because it's your charity and you hold this charity to symbolize you in some strange way. If people don't like the charity, it must be because they don't like you. And the awkward part is that's true. In the end, Jake Doolittle has done some really dumb stuff, and that's honestly one of the biggest reasons why people are not interested in him or his charity. The biggest dumb thing that he did was accuse Ethan Klein of lying about his illness, about having lupus, accusing him of perpetuating a lie to get clicks and sympathy. I cannot express how brash and stupid this is to do as someone whose whole shtick is having empathy and providing a charity for people with chronic illness. It is so bizarre to present yourself as someone who is advocating for people with chronic illness and then to go online and accuse one of the biggest creators of the internet that they're lying about their chronic illness and that they're doing things for attention. When my doctors suggested that I might be making things up, things might be in my head, maybe that I liked the attention, I lost it. It absolutely destroyed me on my health journey to have people who said that I was just doing things because of my attitude or my behavior, not because I genuinely felt pain or suffering. One of the most traumatic experiences I've ever had was when I was really in an awful spot. I was in a great deal of pain And because mine is related to reproductive health, it was around my cycle. I had a person in my life who I had a friendship with who scoffed at me and told me I needed to get over it because this is just the way women live, and that I was the one who was a problem, not my physical health. That was very traumatizing, and it led me to second guess myself so much, when in the reality I knew I had a chronic illness. I knew that I needed to fight for a diagnosis, but what she said genuinely threw me for such a loop that I just broke down sobbing. I would never choose to do that to someone else, at least not to their face. I could be a really crappy person in the background and think some really mean things about someone, but I would never dream of sitting up here and saying, you're just doing it all for views, you're making it all up. You clearly don't have any sort of physical ailment. And for the leader of a charity to sit there and do that, why would I ever donate to a charity where the leader has sat there and publicly accused people of making up their chronic illnesses? And yes, it turned out that Ethan Klein was not suffering from lupus, but that doesn't change the fact that he was going through the same struggle many of us have done with our own chronic illnesses. We've faced having to try and self-diagnose to advocate for ourselves when our doctors just sort of shrug us off. We've had to contend with pain that we don't have a name for, and we've struggled with trying to find a name. Ethan's process was pretty normal for what the average experience is, except he was doing it in public with millions of followers. So yet again, why is someone like Jake Doolittle, who's trying to run a charity for people who are disabled and chronically ill, calling out this guy and calling him a liar and accusing him of making things up, when he went through the exact experience that many of us vulnerable people went through? In the end, I think that Jake Doolittle has realized, because he says that someone told him, the reason why nobody really wants to work with him is because of this whole accusation thing. I think he's realized that he is kind of a slimy looking dude. He comes off as really manipulative, it came off as super underhanded, and it completely undermined his charity. And I kind of think he did all this because he is panicking. His charity is supposed to make him look so good and so moral. And suddenly it's tied to one of his greatest stupid moments and one of the times that his true colors showed. His charity is supposed to be this shorthand thing that tells us that he is this moral, upstanding guy who we should all respect and appreciate, and we should look to him as an authority on things like physical and chronic health. If we all see him as scummy, and the charity now represents him being kind of a scummy, manipulative guy, of course he's going to panic. He has to set things right. He has to get people to put money into his charity to show what a good thing it is, and to rebuild his personal identity and reputation. I fully believe that Jake Doolittle thinks that this charity is some shorthand for being a good guy, and that he is trying to use it to cover the multitude of sins of his somewhat whiny and manipulative personality. I genuinely think he's trying to use it to cover up for his insecurities. And I'll be honest, a lot of this is just a vibe that I get from him in a few words. I don't really like his videos. I can't watch very much of him because everything that I see from him just sort of reeks to me of this like quiet insecurity where I need to rag on everyone else as though I am morally superior to get what I want and to succeed in life and feel good about myself. And I get it. As someone who is chronically ill and in pain for most of my life, I do stupid things because my body and my mind are so overwhelmed with what else is going on that it feels like I have no capacity left to process emotions and contend with these frustrated feelings. And a lot of times I'm so anxious that I just blow up and do something stupid. I think it's normal to not have a whole lot of spoons, as the spoon theory goes, and to act dumb some days. But in the end, most of us are not getting on live stream and doing it. And when most of us are at our stupidest, we are not blackmailing people for not donating to our charity. So while I do have sympathy for making bad choices, I do not have sympathy when those bad choices are to be outright malicious. Now in the end, I don't know. Who am I to sit here and to complain about Jake Doolittle? I don't know what's in my life that may be as cruddy and manipulative as whiny. There's probably a lot that people could get on my case for. Now in the end, who am I to complain? There's probably a lot in my own life that I could get criticized for. The only difference is that it's not on the internet yet. In the end, I probably just have to look at this, and you should too, and examine ourselves. What do we use as a shorthand for our goodness? Instead of working on our character, what sort of charity do we have to work on to try and suffice? What can we do to fix our personality when we're being conniving or manipulative or insecure? And what do we try and hide behind when the work seems too hard, too daunting, or too frustrating? Basically, what can we do to not pull a Jake Doolittle? Anyway, I hope you enjoy this. I can't imagine why you'd want to hear me talk, but maybe you at least like seeing the ugly art I make. I have to be honest, I don't know how often I'll do these. They're just sort of a rant whenever I feel really impassioned and have something I really want to say, and I don't know how often that will be. If you did enjoy, please feel free to subscribe and stay tuned. I don't know when the next thing will come, but oh boy, you'll probably hate it.